is finally happening to Bola Ahmed Tinubu right now. It is few hours ago that the right hand of Bola Ahmed Tinubu have finally exposed the robbery and stealing atrocities of Bola Ahmed Tinubu. This is just like a documentary, and just like a dream to Bola Ahmed Tinubu. He never see this coming. He never expected this person that is so much trust and love so much to expose a lot of things about him. And adage says that it is someone that know much about you that can expose a lot about you. Now, the botox of Bola Ahmed Tinubu is finally out in the early half today due to the video that was released few hours ago by the right hand of Tinubu. So I'd like guys to stay connected to the end of this video because I'm going to be showing you the video in video format. You will see everything yourself. So if you can share this video, ensure you share to different social media platforms. Let it go viral, and if you can share it, just like it as you're watching it, give it a thumb up so that it will be recommended for us. You won't believe your ears, you won't believe your eyes, because you're gonna see where these issues are emanated from. Just stay connected, obedient. I'm coming back again.
Welcome you back to LAJUPOG TV.
I don't have bad news for you today.
The home of religious gossip.
But you should leave the fight for Mohammed.
What is happening in the Christendom? Join now to make sense with LAJUPOG.
Hello my great and wonderful viewers, welcome back to LAJUPOG TV. For those of you coming across this channel for the very first time, make sure you click the red subscription button appearing on your video screen and do well to click the notification bell icon so that whenever we drop a new video in few hours time, YouTube will easily let you to know. Nigeria have been burning at the early hours today as a lot of things is finally going wrong. Bola Ahmed Tinubu never see this coming as the secrets and the atrocities of Tinubu have finally been unveiled in the early hours today. He never knew that this is going to happen. I didn't be that Tinubu that I trust so much would have covered this thing up. He would have done everything possible to just make sure that this thing is fixed, that his botox will not be leaked out. But the right hand of Tinubu, the person that Tinubu did not expect it from, is the one that finally revealed this video in the early half today. And this alone has sparked up a lot of reactions in the early half today. So I'd like guys to stay connected to the end of this video. If you can share this video, ensure you share it, because I'm going to be showing you the video in video format. And if you can share it, just like it. Like the video as you're watching and give it a thumb up so that it will be recommended for us. Let it go viral. A lot of sagas have actually come out regarding Bola Ahmed Tinubu in time past, but everything will die down. Right from 1999, a lot of different sagas have been coming up regarding Bola Ahmed Tinubu, but what's the head of everything? Everything goes down. Nobody hear about it again. Even when people know that the truth is the truth, nothing will still happen. The court will still provide justice and all of that. How is Tinubu doing this thing? Everything is being exposed in this very video. What have actually happened from 1999? Tinubu never knew that this person can reveal all these things. If not, he would have done everything possible to just stop it. The certificate forgery of Tinubu actually came out, and even ATIKU Abubakar pulled it all over himself to make sure that he exposed a lot regarding Bola Ahmed Tinubu. But you can see how Tinubu died everything down. Nobody is hearing anything about the Chicago State certificate and all of that again, even when it is obvious that something actually happened regarding the certificate, that there's some level of manipulations and all of that, but nobody hears about it again. Even that ATIKU Abubakar himself in question, his secret is also exposed in this very video. What ATIKU actually did, the atrocities that he committed when he was still handling the public office, the vice president office under Obasanjo and all of that, his own secret too was exposed. But the major aim of this video is Bola Ahmed Tinubu. What happened from 1999, how these people have been mafiaing money in the Aso Rock chamber right from time, even till today. That thing is still the gameplay of APC people and all of that. And a lot of Nigerians are not contented with all these things that is happening, because it's killing the economy of the country. And when the economy is actually going down, the people are suffering for it. It is the people that are actually suffering for all these things that is going on. I've never seen a situation where someone have the infantry and the temerity to come to the public space and call Tinubu a thief. He called Tinubu a criminal, a thief, everything, because he believes in himself so much that this thing that he said that Tinubu actually did it, and nobody is questioning him on it. When two Binova actually enter into the residence of Bola Ahmed Tinubu in Lagos, the issue came up then, and at the end of the day, everything just went down. A lot of things came up regarding Bola Ahmed Tinubu, but the head of everything is what no one knows. So this man have actually exposed everything. How Tinubu usually died the issue, how he get everything to go down, everything is exposed. Two Bunel van enter into Tinubu's house, and when they asked Tinubu the question question, where did you see so much money that Tubunovan is bringing money into your house and all of that? Tinubu asked a question back to the press. He said, did your money lost? That was the question that Tinubu asked them. And at the end of everything, nobody invited him to media space and all of that. You know, it is very difficult for you to see that Channels Television actually invited Tinubu for an interview, or Arise TV invited Tinubu for an interview. You will hardly see that. What is going on? Is it that Tinubu is too big to be invited for interview or all of that? Something tragic is happening, and that is what you're going to see in this video. This man exposed everything regarding Bola Ahmed Tinubu. So I would like us to stay connected to the end of this video. If you can share the video, ensure you share it, and if you can share it, just like it as I'm watching it, so that it will be recommended for us. I'm showing you the video now, and at the end of the video, I'm coming back to point attention to a particular thing that you will never believe is happening. Just stay connected to the video. I'm coming back again.
They are not different. They are the same. The ruling class has done us a wonderful favor. They've produced one candidate. Just as the two parties have become one, at least demonstrably so, they've also produced a single candidate. You can actually produce an identikit that fits both. Both are criminal in nature and intent. Both have public records of extreme avarice and stealing. Both are integrity challenged. The difference is that we don't know the true name, age, and parentage of one. The other one at least has a credible story as to his provenance in the public space. So what you are actually seeing, you are looking at two dogs. One is a mongrel, the other is an Alsatian, but they are both dogs. So it's not like they have presented us, the species is the same. So it is up to Nigerians to look beyond those two, because frankly speaking, you will notice I haven't spent much time on ATIKU, because there is really nothing to say about him. He has sufficiently introduced himself. Obasanjo has done a fantastic job of defining him, so we already know him. But Tinubu, because of his ownership of a lot of press levers, the purchase of the intellectual kaku makers, you find that he's not properly interrogated, and people are dancing around the issues when they are talking about him, because they've all fed from his table. Feeding from his table has meant that a lot of illusions have been allowed to travel undispelled for too long. So when you are dealing with Tinubu, you are dealing with the falsehood of stories of the success story that Lagos is. What success story, for heaven's sake? I've had several engagements with the obedient crew, and I've sought to make something clear to them. If ever a candidate was made for a season, it is Peter Obi. But it is up to Peter Obi to now decide whether he wants to become what he flatters to be. He flatters to become, but he isn't. And this is very simple. Peter Obi has spoken, I've heard him speak extensively to the need to restructure Nigeria, but I have not heard him place concrete plans and ideas on the table as regards the restructuring of Nigeria. We are the ones who need to recruit our leaders. If our leaders are non-existent, and Nigeria has none, and Peter Obi has come out and is offering leadership qualities. He has proven himself in a state, even though there are people who challenges his records in Anambra, but it has traveled long enough for us to say that reasonably he must have done well in Anambra. Now, if he has done well in Anambra and is coming to Nigeria, he must understand something. The primary issue with Nigeria is that it has been destroyed beyond repairs. Destroyed by the years of the PDP, yes, but the job of destroying it beyond repair happened under General Buhari. So if you are going to be able to preserve Nigeria, you have to actually reimagine Nigeria and then sell your new image of Nigeria to the Nigerians. Because it's a democracy, it's not going to be all Nigerians that you can sell your ideas to. But if you sell your ideas to sufficient numbers as to propel a movement for change, then you are a leader. You can talk about moving from consumption to production all you care. But if the structure of the country is not one that encourages production, because what it actually wants is to impoverish those who live in the space. How do you increase production? The only way you can galvanize that is to listen to the pains and yearnings of at least a majority in 4 out of 6 geopolitical zones in this country. We desire to see Nigerians freed from the shackles of this fraudulent constitution. Why is it impossible, if he knows, and he should know, he's intelligent enough to know that the critical problem with Nigeria today are its evil governance structures, which are rooted in the 1999 fraud, Decree 24. Why is it impossible for him to galvanize us behind his own vision of the future that is rooted in restructuring? You can't change anything without restructuring Nigeria. It's not possible. So where is his vision for restructuring? Omoyele Sowore has one. We know exactly how many regions Nigeria would become if the AAC wins power. We know exactly what his views are on state police. Is on paper. Why is it so difficult to ask this of Mr. Peter Obi? The only persons that Nigeria currently advantages are the members of the ruling class. The people in Kankara, they are Fulanis. Zamfara is Fulani and Hausa almost equally divided. The northeast, the Boronus and the Boronus and the Fulanis, and then a lot of minorities. Who is enjoying Nigeria the way it is? Why are we afraid to confront our problems with ideas? Because the ideas will be unpopular. Why? They might be unpopular. Yes, explain it to them. Speak to people in relatable terms. Is it that the man in the northeast and the northwest does not want good life for themselves and their children? Do they understand how the structural lopsidedness of Nigeria makes it impossible to develop infrastructure? Do they understand that once upon a time, the same country that had only 4 regions now has 36 states and a federal capital, each of which has a governor, a state house of assembly? Once upon a time, there were more local governments in the southern, in fact, Yoruba land, the west, had more local government than the whole of northern Nigeria, because local governments were not the basis for sharing revenue. They were basis for locating development, and the western region was interested in urbanizing and developing its space. So they created a lot of local government, but today, you create local government based on land mass, whether there are people there or not. These so-called advantages, how does it trickle down to the common man on the streets of northern Nigeria? These advantages are claimed in the names of Arewa, but it accrues only to members of their feudal ruling class. It has never percolated down to the people. Why is it that we are afraid to speak to ourselves? It's because, you see, we have made it so easy for Nigeria to perpetrate lies, just to be lying. What northern Nigeria? Who are these northern Nigerians? Are the people of the plateau part of this northern Nigeria that does not want restructuring? The people in Bauchi, are they one of them as well? All those parts of Bauchi, the Tangali people, so they don't want this restructuring. The Jukuns in Taraba do not want this restructuring. Are they not in northern Nigeria as well? Who is northern Nigeria? Who are the northern? It is important that we dispel these myths by confronting the issues with truth. If the people in northern Nigeria don't like it, that does not hand them a veto over the rest of Nigeria that might want it. Just as the South cannot on its own gain power without the acquiescence of the North cannot gain power without the acquiescence of the South. This is something, so at any point in time, we must all understand that the restructuring we are talking about is not meant to disadvantage anybody. It is meant to make life easier for all of us, and just because one party is saying it doesn't want it does not mean that those of us who want it should give up on demanding what we believe to be right. We can have this disagreement, we can have this argument, But we must be able to agree on what the facts are, what the truths are. Then we can now begin to argue about opinions. Nigeria is not working. It is not working. It can't work the way it is, and it cannot work on the imperatives of an ethno religious bloc. It can't. It has to be a consensus of all. We find it difficult to see the trees because of the forest. And I have this habit as well of trying my best to make sure that I don't do information overload. So I tend to compartmentalize my arguments. Personnel changes will never save Nigeria, and I stand by that. But I also recognize that there are only two ways to change Nigeria: electoral or war. Is one or the other. You're either going to change Nigeria using the electoral path, or you're going to change Nigeria by force of arms. I think it was Tahir. The man is Tahir. I think it's the Taliban Bauchi. He was the leader of the northern delegation to the 2014 conference. He said something I have always pondered. He said, if you want to change the 1999 constitution, you should go and plan a coup. He said it at the time. It sounded innocuous because this was back in 2014. It didn't really resonate. But in recent times, the more I've pondered it, the more I've come to realize that what the man is saying is essentially true. You are going to have to plan a coup. And in this case, what I'm actually advocating is a coup in a different way. I have believed, and I have said so unapologetically, that Nigeria cannot be saved in the absence of a revolution. And I've also been careful to explain what I mean by a revolution. A revolution simply means a turnaround. I've explained it ad nauseum. It comes from the French word revolver, turn around. If Nigeria does not turn around, it will die. That is a fact. But however, how do you turn around a system that is locked into the path of destruction if you say that it is also not a democracy? That's why I said there are two ways: your PVC or your gun. The PVC offers us a chance. There is a chance that we might be able to escape war in Nigeria if we use the PVC route. And how do I mean? Remember I said earlier that Nigeria is actually on a leadership recruitment drive. It's a leadership recruitment drive because we who are meant to be led, we need to be clear about where we want to be led to. It is in the clarity of demanding where we want to be led to that the leaders would emerge, if they are leaders. Peter Obi has not offered a plan, and it is critical that we are traveling in the direction that forces the coup that I described. What is that coup? A Peter Obi that manages to energize and unite the youth is capable of galvanizing an electoral revolution. We are more than them at any point in time. We are more than them. But Peter Obi has not offered us something to follow. Some of us are old dogs. We've been at this for too long. We are not fooled by rhetoric. We need to see a plan before we might follow any man. The illusions of 2014 did not carry us. So how would this one carry us? So what we are saying is this: if you want to use the electoral path, galvanize a movement that is capable of triggering a revolution. The people in Ekiti will sell their votes because they had nothing to look forward to. Nobody look, a vote that is useless, you already know that regardless of which one of them comes into power, nothing will change. They've not offered you a different path. Segun Oni had a history of performance. The people could look to that. But when it came to the day of the election, with weaponized poverty and the fact that the election was localized, it was easier for those who we rig, who had sucked up money all these years. Instead of building roads, instead of building schools, instead of building hospitals, instead of building human capacity, they've salted up the money because they know that it is easier for them to simply buy the votes of impoverished people. But that is because the people have not been offered something that they find more compelling than the 10,000 naira. As long as the law does not rule in Nigeria, which is essentially one of the demands that has led to the call for restructuring, you still have the same situation. You still have the same situation. So it's still going to be the same. Is your PVC or your gun? Because this won't end. This time around, the vote means nothing because the ruining crash has offered them no choice. They know that the ritual of voting is empty. It's either they are voting and the police will stand aside when the thugs will come and scatter the place when they can't buy the votes. But when the people themselves are involved, when they are energized, galvanized and mobilized into a movement for change, they will defend their votes. But if we, who are the ones looking for change, are not clear about the kind of changes that we seek, it becomes impossible to embolden the candidates sufficiently to understand the direction in which they need to lead us. Nigeria is irreparably damaged under Buhari. You can only reimagine it and then sell the vision of that new Nigeria to Nigerians across the length and breadth of Nigeria. Not everybody would agree with that new vision, but I believe that sufficient numbers of Nigerians, particularly the youth. So when I tell you we have time, I know what I'm talking about. We have more than enough time. But if you are looking to lead people, you need to show them where you are leading them to. It's not sufficient to be talking from consumption to production. How? Look, it's I recall that a few years ago I did one that if we do nothing about restructuring our governance systems, let me start with the godfather of them all, the Lagos octopus. It wasn't always like this between me and him. He's never seen me before, not once. But when he was coming to power for the first time, I took night bus from Abuja to Lagos to come and vote for him. Prince Ademola Adeniji DELE, may God rest his soul, he was running as Arome's deputy. I slept in his house because his brother-in-law, my friend, lived in his house, and that was where I stayed whilst I was in the law school. I woke up in his house in the morning to go and vote. He was on his balcony, and he asked me, "Mandi, Odinlo Dibo Fumi Abi?" I said, "Ah, Papa, Emaro, AD all the way." Yeah, AD all the way. That was the mask. I voted him the first time he came around. It's one of the worst errors I ever made in my life because I helped to birth today's monster. Now we have 22 years of his hegemony ruling over Lagos State, unchallenged, virtually untouched, unchallenged, supreme in Lagos State. His word, his law. He rules the street, even as he rules the chambers, both of justice and of the legislature. What has he battered? He is effectively a dictator. He does as he pleases in Lagos State. There is a 22-year record to look at, and the record and the facts speaks for themselves. Res ipsa loquitur, we say in law. The facts speak for themselves. In the last 15 years, the road in and out of my neighborhood has been a construction site, building nothing but grit. A veritable tool for the pauperization of the people and enrichment of an hegemony. They've killed for that toll gate on his watch, under his imprimatur. If he's gaining power on the strength of the 1999 Constitution, without having mobilized the Nigerian people around the idea of a restructuring that he has placed on paper and galvanized them behind, how is he going to get this den of robbers called the Nigerian Senate or the Congress of baboons called the House of Reps? How is he supposed to be getting any one of those ones to take away the foundation for the food they are eating? They just spend billions to get into office, and you expect them to, or is he going to plan a military coup? The only way anybody can change the system is to engage the electoral process, let the people know and mobilize them behind your plan. But even we who are talking must understand, and this is one of the points I've been laboring to make for a few days, to strengthen the candidates who are not going to come from the established stealing platforms, APC and PDP. To strengthen those ones, we, the average citizens, must take time to register to vote. When we register to vote to the point where their talks become useless, their monies become useless, then candidates coming from parties that are not considered fashionable gain power.
Thank you for staying connected, my great and wonderful viewers. You can see this video very well. You can see that it was DELE FAROTIMI that was talking in that very video. And this guy spoke a lot regarding Bola Ahmed Tinubu. You know, this guy know everything regarding Tinubu. There is nothing that Tinubu is doing that this guy did not know. This is so much intelligent guy that have taken his time to study Bola Ahmed Tinubu. In fact, he's even writing a book on all the atrocities of Tinubu and APC people, and even the atrocities of Nigerian politicians. This man is writing books on it because he believes so much that he knows everything about them. There's no tactics that they want to use in the political system that I did not know. He knows a lot about the political space, and if you look at him very well, he said in this video, he said he made a terrible mistake back then when Tinubu was to govern Lagos State, that in 1999 he came all the way from Abuja in night bus to come and vote for Bola Ahmed Tinubu, and he said that was the terrible mistake that he have ever made in his own entire life. And you can see that the man was actually regretting that. He said he was one of those people that built this monster called Tinubu that is in the Aso Rock chamber at this moment. So listening to what he said regarding Bola Ahmed Tinubu, this guy exposed a lot. If you did not listen to the video very well, you can still get back to this video. You can still listen to what DELE FAROTIMI said in that video. He said a lot of things because of the election will always go wrong. When it comes to Bola Ahmed Tinubu, things will surely go wrong in cause of the election, because Tinubu had built up a system of corruption for himself that is fetching him money and all of that. So he have a lot of money to spend in course of the elections and all of that. He have a lot of money to spend on when a saga come out about him. He have a lot of money to sign in the saga. You can see what happened when ATIKU brought out the Chicago State University academic record and all of that. You can see what the Supreme Court did. You can see what the tribunal did. You can see everything that actually happened. And you know, in course of the election, they were underage voting in the northern part of Nigeria. It is not what I'm saying. The video circulated online. Everything that I'm saying now is not my personal opinion. I will never express my personal opinion regarding what is happening in the political space on media. But what I will always bring to you is what is already on the media space, and that is the track record that have been there. We had the video evidences where underage voting were going on in the northern part of Nigeria, because in course of the election, we're seeing videos of the southern region, the eastern region, but the northern region just went silent. Nobody was hearing anything about what is going on in the northern part of Nigeria until we dig in and we noticed that underage voting was actually going on in the northern part of Nigeria. If you see small children of 6 years, 8 years and above holding PVCs and making their vote and casting it for APC, and police were there in different polling units, and these kids were lined up in mass. They have a high number of kids voting, and they were even showcasing their PVC. And at the end of the day, a police commissioner came out in course of the election. He said we can't call them kids, that we did not really know their age, that some of them are small small, but we did not know maybe they are old or all of that. That some people actually have baby face. If you see an 8-year-old child, are you not going to know the child? If you see 6 years old and you call 6 years old 18 years, no matter how small the face is and all of that, the police officer came and defend this criminality that was going on in another part of Nigeria just because it's in favor of APC. Then tell me, what did the police actually say about the thug coming out in different polling units in Nigeria, most especially in Lagos State, and telling people if you are not voting for APC, you go back to your house. If you are voting for Labour Party, don't bother to come out in the election day. What did the police actually say about that? Nothing is being said. They don't even invite the person that instigated all those violence in the election day, the person of MC Oluomo in Lagos. They did not invite him for questioning, talk less of arrest and all of that. Nothing is being done. I have now noticed that this regime of APC, if there's anything that is favorable them, no matter how bad that thing is, that things will be legalized. But when they see that something is eating them up, that something is going to affect them, they will do everything possible to sign in that thing. You can see that with all those atrocities that happened in the course of the election, they did not bring anybody to book because it actually favored them and all of that, because according to the report, they were the one that actually instigated everything that happened in the course of the election. The violence, you can see that they injured Lady Jennifer. That was the woman that they injured in her face, and they rushed her to the hospital and they went to treat her face, and she still come back to vote for Labour Party. Now, will you tell me that it is voters card that injured her face? Is it not talks that injured her face in her polling unit and all of that? You can see that nobody was brought to book. A guy came out and said that they killed his wife because of the election and all of that in Benin. They killed the wife because she wanted to vote for Labour Party and she wanted to defend her vote. That was how the woman lost her life and all of that. They did not say anything to say about it, but they can actually come out to tell us that if you are criticizing Bola Ahmed Tinubu, they will put you in 3 years imprisonment and all of that, because they notice that a lot of people are actually against Bola Ahmed Tinubu. They know that a lot of people are actually against the policies and what Tinubu is doing in the ALOT chamber, the way they mafia money and all of that. They see that a lot of people are against it and a lot of people are actually talking about it. They try to bully and silence a lot of people that are being invited to media houses in Nigeria just to talk about the atrocities and the criminality of APC and Bola Ahmed Tinubu and all of that. They try to silence those people, and even the people that are holding personal blogs and all of that, they said if you talk about Tinubu, you will be arrested and you will be put in 3 years imprisonment. Now, they can arrest people talking about Tinubu, but they can't do anything regarding the criminality that happened in the course of the election. Now, Ketayedu stole some money and all of that. They mafia money to their private account, and it's not only limited to her. There are plenty in the ALOT chamber. A lot of senators and ministers are mafiaing money in that place. It's only Ketayedu that was caught, and even the Ketayedu that was caught, did anything happen to her? Nothing happened to her. They did not do anything to her. They only suspended her and all of that. We even know that maybe they have only reinstated her in the office back again. Nobody knows. The issue just died down. Any issue that is concerned with mafiaing of money and criminality, stealing of public funds, will surely die down in Nigeria under the regime of APC. You can see NCDC chairman, when they ask him questions regarding how he used the public fund, you can see that the man fainted in the regime of Buhari, and that man was still under APC. When he fainted, that was where the issue died, and they never asked him any question again. And even Tinubu, that is even ruling Nigeria, took bullet van enter into his house. Where did the bullet van come from? They said the bullet van misroad enter into his house. And when they were asking Tinubu the question that which work is it in that 2 bullet van is carrying money to his house, when his house is not a bank and all of that, he asked them question back. He asked the press the question, did your money lost? Why are you asking me a question regarding the bullet van that entered into my house? That was where the case died down. Nobody asked me a question regarding that. You can see the FAROTIMI spoke about how Tinubu had been buying the press and all of that. This is not my personal opinion. This was what FAROTIMI said himself. He said Tinubu buy the press, he buy different system in Nigeria, and that is why the system are subjected and they are working on his behalf and all of that. So what do you guys think regarding everything that is happening under the regime of APC? Is the poor really breathing? Drop up in the comment section in this video, as I'm gonna to get another for you, and share, follow me on my social media handles on Facebook at LAJUPOG TV and LAJUPOG Entertainment, and on Instagram at LAJUPOG. Guess what, guys? See you in my next video. Bye.
I see the hot for my body, I say make I yarn you. Religious gossip plenty day for body. Pastor with the line on top, be pastor. For LAJUPOG Watch TV. Pastor with the back, where politician with the do pass himself. Corrupt leader, how they why you waiting for church? All as LAJUPOG Watch TV.